7 a.m. and 10 p.m. So this is very civilized.
Cool.
All right, let's kick off. So hi everyone. Thanks for joining us for this ChatGPT for Charities session. I'm just going to give you a quick introduction to who I am so you have a bit of context. The QR code that you can see here on screen, if you scan that with the camera on your mobile phone, it brings up all my details. The best place to find me is LinkedIn. And if after this session you have any questions, anything you want to talk about with AI, I'm more than happy to help. So my name is Robin. I am originally from North Devon and I grew up in Northam and Westward Ho. So really happy to be talking to you all today. Feels a bit like coming home. I spent 15 years of my career as an executive assistant, including 4 years at a nonprofit in Sydney, Australia. So if I don't sound like I'm from Devon, that's because I spent a long time down under. After I left my last role at the nonprofit, I started traveling and I saw an opportunity to start teaching executive assistants and other professionals about how to use AI and ChatGPT. So ChatGPT just happened to come out just as I started traveling, and I saw this huge opportunity to upskill people in this new technology. So I've done that for the last year. I've trained about 1,000 people now online. Me and my partner wanted to do more in the AI space, and we wanted to create a product that charities could use the power of AI to help them find and convert new donors. So we're building that platform now. It's called Pravi.ai, which you can see on screen there. And we just recently found out that we have funding from Innovate UK, which is a government body, UK government body, to actually build the platform. And so we're literally kicking off this week in the research and development of that product. So that's me. Today, we're going to cover these things. So I'm going to start from the beginning with just a quick intro to what is AI and how can it make our work quicker and easier, just for if anyone's sort of new to this space. I'm going to give you an intro to ChatGPT and then look at it in terms of how we can use it in our work. And then I'm going to talk about prompt engineering, which is basically a fancy way of saying how you can get the best response out of ChatGPT. And the practical examples I'm going to share with you are around using ChatGPT for grant submissions, drafting communications, and project management. So let's start, as I said, at the beginning, just to like level set everyone, give people a different kind of levels of experience when it comes to AI. So artificial intelligence, or AI, is a computer program that has the capability to imitate and predict human behavior. And what I can say here is AI is not new. It's been around for years and years, and I can guarantee that you all already use it every day in terms of apps and software, things like Amazon, Instagram, Netflix. Anytime it feels like your phone is reading your mind and it knows what you're thinking, that's AI at work in the background. But if AI is not new, then why is it suddenly this big buzzword topic? Why are we reading about it in the news? And why am I here today? So the answer to that question is really here in this graph. What you're looking at here is the time it took for lots of different popular apps and software to reach 100 million monthly active users. So 100 million people using the app every single month. And what you can see at the bottom here is it took Uber, which I think is something, and it's not the best in North Devon, but something that a lot of us have used. It took Uber nearly 6 years to reach 100 million monthly active users. In contrast to this, at the top of the graph, you can see it took ChatGPT just 2 months to reach the same number of monthly users. So it really has taken the world by storm. It's changed the way that we interact with AI. So the other apps that you can see here, like Instagram and Spotify, they use AI, but it's in the background. It's making those personalized experiences for us. It's making everything look pretty. It's serving us those cat videos or dog videos that we want to see on Instagram. But we as users are not interacting with the AI. We don't even really know it's there. But with ChatGPT and the new technology that has come out, we are now as users able to actively talk to the AI and get it to help us with our own work. And so that's the real shift in AI technology. It's not that AI is new, but it's the way that we can use AI that has changed. So I'd like to start just by acknowledging that sometimes people have some uncertainties about AI and about is it going to replace us and take our jobs? The way I see AI is a tool. I see in the modern world, we never have enough time in the day. There is always our mobile phone ringing, our Teams notifications pinging, our emails stacking up. And so AI and ChatGPT in particular is a tool that can help you get your work done faster with less effort. And it can also help you get unstuck if you're not sure where to start. Using ChatGPT really honestly means that you never have to start from a blank page again. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate to you in today's session. So just a quick few bullet points for anyone who is completely new to ChatGPT. And again, I will share these slides so you can follow these instructions. ChatGPT is trained on huge amounts of data to produce human-like text responses. And you'll see this in a second in my demo. You sign up at chat.openai.com. A word that you're going to hear me use a lot in today's session is a prompt. And a prompt is just the question or the instructions that you want ChatGPT to respond to. And I will show you that in detail in today's session. You can access ChatGPT on your internet browser, but there's also an iPhone and an Android app. And that's a really great way to get comfortable with ChatGPT because you can just use it for like personal tasks. You can chat to it, see what it comes back with, maybe like if you're on the bus or something. So I really recommend downloading the app. And there are free and paid subscriptions available. So everything I'm going to show you today is in the free version. The paid version has much more functionality. So it can do things like draw images, create graphs, analyze PDFs, analyze spreadsheets, search the internet. And that subscription is about $20 a month. If you're into this sort of stuff and it's exciting, I would recommend just giving it a try. You can always cancel. You could just use it for 1 month for $20 and then get rid of it just to see what it can do. But as I say, everything I show you today, we're going to stick to the free version. So just to show you how this is going to work, I have pre-recorded all my demos so that you don't have to, whoops, one sec, so that you don't have to watch me typing. Sorry, my slides are just opening. So that you don't have to watch me typing everything into ChatGPT. So let me try and open, there we go. Okay, here we are. So what I'll do is I'll play these videos for you, and then I'll talk over them about what's happening on screen. So let me just maximize this. Just interrupt me if anything is breaking up or if you can't see my video with the cursor moving in a second, just interrupt me and I can change some things around. What you should be seeing is my cursor moving in the middle of the screen. In the middle of the screen, we have just some ideas to help you get started with ChatGPT. So if you clicked on them, it would start a conversation. On the left-hand side here, you can start a new chat with ChatGPT. And these are all my saved conversations that I've had before. So what you can do is you can revisit a conversation that you've had with ChatGPT in the past and pick it up again without having to start from scratch. If I click on these little 3 dots, it gives me some options. I can share my chat, I can rename it, or I can delete it or archive it. If you don't want ChatGPT to save your chats along the side like this, you can turn it off. But I find it really useful to be able to revisit things that I've done previously with ChatGPT. But it's up to you. You can change it in the settings. Now in the center here in this message box, this is where I write my prompt, which I mentioned earlier. The prompt is the instructions or the question that you want ChatGPT to respond to. So here I'm asking it to create a staff social event calendar for a nonprofit organization with a funny event each month for staff to socialize and format as a table. So this is something you can ask ChatGPT to do. You can specify the format you want. So do you want an email, a table, bullet points, a letter? You can include that in your prompt. Now what you'll see if I just pause it here, ChatGPT will always tip to an American audience because it's been created by an American company. So you can see here in the ideas it's given me for my staff social event, things like Thanksgiving potluck, barbecue cookout. These are kind of American concepts. But I can change this by letting ChatGPT know that I'm based in the UK. So this is where you want to give ChatGPT as much information as you can in order to get a better response. So I've now said I'm based in the UK, and you'll see that ChatGPT repeats the task, but it's changed some of these event ideas to suit a UK audience. So if we look, we've got Wimbledon viewing party, summer barbecue now, bonfire night celebration. So it's changed its suggestions to fit my instructions. Again, we can keep this conversation going with ChatGPT. We don't need to give it the same information every time. So now I'm going to ask it to create an event plan for the summer barbecue idea. It knows what I'm referring to because the conversation is keeping going. So ChatGPT starts drafting this event plan for me. And what you'll see here is this is not a kind of a finished product that I would just copy and paste and maybe send out to the team, but it's a great way to get started and to kind of prompt me to think about the different things I need to consider if I'm planning an event. So it starts off with some basic details, then it takes me through the different elements of the plan. So you can see we've got menu planning, activities, decorations, the safety and comfort of the guests, staff assignments, communication, and feedback. So it really helps me to make sure I don't miss anything. And it gives me a way to get started with this event plan as like a template. And then I can fill in more details as they're relevant to what I'm trying to do. One more thing I'll just show you in this video, if I just pause here. So with ChatGPT's responses, I sometimes see people kind of trying to highlight and copy and paste, like using the mouse. If you use this little, I never think what this is called, clipboard. If you use this little clipboard at the bottom, it will really nicely copy and paste it. And when you paste it into your Word document or your email or anything, it will all be formatted correctly. So I really recommend using that clipboard icon to get your stuff out of ChatGPT. That's the first demo. I'm just going to head back to my slides. So let's get rid of that one. Let's pull up this again. Okay. So I'm not going to go into deep sort of explanation of the technology, but it is important to understand the basics of how ChatGPT works because it will help you understand what it can help with and what it can't help with. So the free version of ChatGPT, which is only thing we're going to talk about today, is only trained on data up to January 2022 and is not connected to the internet. Now, this can be kind of confusing because obviously we're using the internet to access ChatGPT, but ChatGPT itself is not searching the internet to give us the responses. It's trained on a fixed amount of data that only goes up to January 2022. So if you ask it who won a Grammy for Best Recording Artist in 2023, it doesn't have that information. All the information you put into ChatGPT is used to train it and make it better. So you really don't want to be copy pasting any kind of personal details, donor details, client records, anything like that into ChatGPT. What I would do if you want to do something that includes some confidential information, you just need to remove it first, put in some square brackets with like name or just put like XXX, put it into ChatGPT and then put that confidential information back in once you've removed it out. And then ChatGPT works in a similar way to predictive text. So it can seem like it's thinking or learning, but in fact, it's actually just designed to guess the best responses based on patterns in data. So in the first demo, I showed quite a simple use case for ChatGPT with a very simple prompt. What I'm going to do now is go through some much longer prompts so you can see how spending more time on prompting and including more information gets a much more useful response out of ChatGPT. So we call this prompt engineering. And as I say, this just means using the right prompt to get the best response out of ChatGPT. So in our prompt, we always want to define the task. So exactly what do we want ChatGPT to help us with? Describe the context. So the more context you can give ChatGPT about who you are, what you're doing, who the audience is for what you're writing, then the better its response will be. And then providing clear instructions. So things like, as I said before, you could do a table, you could do bullet points, you could do a report. The length, ChatGPT tends to be quite err on the lengthier side. So it can help to give it a word count or a number of paragraphs or something like that. And then the tone, if you include tone in your prompt, it would really drastically change the way that ChatGPT writes. So this could be something like you want it to write in a professional way, or informal way, a persuasive way, an urgent way. You can experiment with it, but it really changes what ChatGPT gives you back. And then lastly, experiment and refine. These are new skills. Prompt engineering is going to become a more and more important skill in the workplace as we use more and more AI tools. But it's new to everyone. ChatGPT only came out about a year and a half ago. So it's really about practicing your prompting. And once you kind of get the hang of it and you see the way ChatGPT responds, creating these prompts will become like second nature. So here's an example of a much longer prompt. I'm going to talk you through the elements here, and then I'll jump back into a video where I've copy and pasted this example into ChatGPT so you can see how it responds. Just a note here at the bottom, I've spaced my prompts out like this so that you can all see the different elements, but you don't need to do this when you're using ChatGPT. In fact, if you type a prompt directly into ChatGPT and press enter to get a new line, it will submit it to ChatGPT. So I've just done this for the purposes of this presentation. But here in my example, just to take you through the prompt. I'm drafting an email update with using the following instructions. I want the writing style. So this is the tone I was just talking about. I've got professional and upbeat, and to use British English spelling. As I mentioned before, ChatGPT will tip to American spelling. Sometimes even if you include this in your prompt, it doesn't always pick it up, and you will have to ask it to correct it again. So that's something to keep an eye out for. So the audience for my email update is a donor list for my charity, Save the Trees. This is my made up charity. And the purpose of my email is it's from the CEO letting donors know that a recent fundraising dinner raised £10,000. And I want to let donors know there's still time to donate via a link. And I've also asked ChatGPT to include our slogan, together we go greener, grow greener. So you can ask ChatGPT to include specific language, slogans, acronyms, whatever you need. So let me jump back into my videos. And make this one go. So again, we're back in ChatGPT, exactly the same as before. And as I said, what I'm going to do is literally just copy and paste. Let's pause it quickly. That prompt that I had on screen on my slides, I've just pasted into ChatGPT. So you'll see as ChatGPT immediately starts drafting quite a detailed email for me here because I've given it that information and context. So you can see it's including the amount raised, what we're going to do with the money, and then it's encouraging people now to donate via this link, and included my slogan at the bottom there. You can see in the brackets, it's put a space for me to put the donation link. Now, what I can do is keep this conversation going to use the same prompt to create lots of different types of comms. So I don't need to start a new chat for every single task. ChatGPT already has all the information about my fundraising event. And so now I can just keep going backwards and forward and asking it to write different types of communications using the same information that I gave it at the start. So this time I'm going to ask it to rewrite the email as an update for the board of directors. This time I've asked it to use formal but concise language. So that's a change from what I said before, where I wanted it to be upbeat. And you can see this is a more formal kind of, but shorter and more concise email to my board of directors. And you could change the audience to whoever you need. Now, again, I'm going to keep the conversation going. And this time I've asked it to use the above information to write a 500-word report about this event. So we're moving away from emails or letters, that sort of comms. And you can see here, ChatGPT structures it differently because it's a report. So it's giving me these different headings, future plans, the key highlights, and kind of a conclusion here. So it's changing the structure because I've changed the instructions. So you can see it's given me an event overview, and it's given me some brackets there to put in the information. And it's given me the key highlights of the event. So one thing I just wanted to highlight for you here in a second, I will highlight it on screen, So ChatGPT, as I said, it is not thinking, it is predicting the best words, the best response for what you need. I often say it's like a people pleaser. It wants to give you the best response. But that can mean that ChatGPT will fill in the blanks if you don't give it the information it thinks it needs. So as an example here, what you can see on screen, ChatGPT has written in this report that there were keynote speakers and environmental experts delivering impactful presentations on the importance of preserving natural habitats, etc. Now, that isn't something I put in my prompt, and maybe that happened, but maybe it didn't. ChatGPT thinks, based on the information it has, that's something that's likely to have happened, and so it's included it. So this is why it's really important we always proofread, edit, and update any response that ChatGPT gives us, because as I say, it's a people pleaser. It wants to give us sort of the best well-rounded response it can, but this can mean it includes information that isn't accurate for what really happened in real life. So I've got one more just demonstration in this sort of chain, just to show you again how we can change ChatGPT's output. So I'm now going to ask ChatGPT to draft a social media post for me based on the above information. So this could be something like for LinkedIn or like a caption for an update on Instagram or something. So write a short LinkedIn post about the event, and you'll see very different output here. So we've got emojis, we've got hashtags at the bottom, and we've got this sort of short, very upbeat kind of message that would be more appropriate for social media. So that is the basics of using ChatGPT for communications. I'm going to just, again, jump back into my slides, and I'm going to take you through another example. Just 1 second. Okay. I think I've got. Okay, great. Okay, so the next example I'm going to show you is how we can use ChatGPT to create a project scoping document. So I'll just again take you on the down the examples, and then I'm going to copy paste this into ChatGPT and show you what it comes up with. So I'm asking ChatGPT to generate a project scoping document using the following information. The goal of the project is a successful partnership between a charity, my made-up charity, Save the Trees, and a national supermarket chain based in the UK. The scope is to develop a joint fundraising campaign to be promoted in store and online. I've given it a timeline for my project. So I'm going to spend months 1 to 2 doing planning and development, and then I'm going to spend months 3 to 6 implementing these promotional activities. And I've given it the success metrics. So the success is measured for my project by the funds raised during the campaign, but also an increase in brand awareness amongst the supermarket's customers. Now, if you want to create a project scoping document and you don't know what type of information to put into ChatGPT, you can ask it. So here I've got some very specific like factors that I've included, but say you want to create a project scoping document and you're like, I don't know what information ChatGPT needs to do that task, you can just put in the prompt box, I need to write a project scoping document for X. What information do you need to help me with this task? And it will come back and tell you, I need the goal, I need the scope, I need the timeline, I need the success metrics. So you can ask it what it needs to help you with a task to help you get started. Let me jump back. I can see I've got a message in the chat. Let's have a quick look. Oh, this is a game changer. Great. Thank you, Fiona. Sorry, I'm just running off one screen here, so it's hard for me to like see the chat while I'm presenting. But yes, obviously put any questions as well in the chat, and I'll answer those as well.
That's so clever.
I know. I do. I still love ChatGPT. I've been like been using it for a long time, but I was just still amazes me. All right, let me jump into the project management one. 1 second. Make this bigger. Okay, cool. So again, same thing again. The prompt that I had up on screen there, I've copy pasted into ChatGPT, and you'll see it starts creating this project scoping document for me. There we scroll down. And it's going to give me it's going to build out each of the parts that I asked it to. So you can see here with the scope, it's giving me 4 different areas to think about. And then the timeline, it's broken it down into those 2 parts, the planning and development phase, and then the implementation of the promotional activities. And then it's built out those success metrics for me as well. Another thing I really like about using ChatGPT for these sort of tasks is sometimes it can be difficult to get that sort of professional language, business language right. So ChatGPT is a great way of just like dumping in what we're thinking, all the ideas and stuff that we have going around in our head. And you can use ChatGPT to kind of piece that together into something that is, easy to understand from other people. So now I've got my project scoping document started. Again, I'm going to keep the conversation going. We're going to keep talking about the same project and get ChatGPT to help me with a few other tasks. So you remember further up on screen, I'd broken down those 2 work packages, the planning phase and then the implementation phase. Now what I want ChatGPT to help me with is creating weekly project work packages. So breaking down those 2 stages into what I need to do every week. And again, what you'll see, it's not the finished product, it's quite general. But again, I think this is just a way of getting started so much quicker with the task. I could take this to a meeting with the team, we could talk about it, build this out into what needs to be delivered each week to complete the project. And again, it's that maybe thinking of things that you might not have thought of. So it can also help you kind of broaden the things you're considering, fill in any blanks. You can see it's given me 3 kind of bullet points per week of how I can get from that planning stage to the implementation to the end of the project. So I'm going to keep going now in the conversation with ChatGPT. This is another way that you can use it. So you can ask it to complete tasks for you, but you can also kind of use it as like a thought partner to help you consider things you may not have thought of. So you can see here on screen, I've asked ChatGPT, is there any important information I've missed or risks I haven't considered? And you'll see that ChatGPT thinks there's a lot in a second. So here you go. ChatGPT has given me the things I haven't yet considered in my project plan. Now, maybe I don't need to consider all these, okay? Maybe some of them are not relevant and that's fine. But again, it just helps you think through what you need to include. So maybe I do need to think about legal and compliance. I do need to think about risk management or the evaluation of the project. ChatGPT can help fill in those blanks for you. As I say, being that thought partner, actually helping you with the task. And the last thing I want to show you just on this video before I jump back to my slides, I just want to show you what it looks like with sharing the chat. Because I think, especially with this sort of project management stuff, it'd be really helpful to share ChatGPT's outlook with your team. And as I said, then you could take it to a meeting or you could work on it together. So if you click on those 3 little dots next to the chat that you want to share, you get this kind of arrow icon. And if you click on that, it will share a link to the chat, only this chat. So you're not giving someone access to your whole ChatGPT account. They won't be able to log in as you or anything like that. You're literally just sending a link and they will be able to see this back and forwards chat with ChatGPT. And you can send this link, on Teams, on email, however you want to share it. Awesome. Let's get rid of this. So I'm going to go back again to my slides, and then I've got one more video to show as well. So let's put back here. Okay. So this is the final prompt and example that I'm going to go through. And then after this video, I've just got a few overarching kind of tips and tricks for getting the best out of ChatGPT. So this one is for applying for grants or funding, anything you need to sort of application you need to fill in. So this is a bit different. This is a more complex use of ChatGPT. So you can see here that I'm starting by giving ChatGPT the context. I'm not giving ChatGPT this whole prompt all in one go. I'm going to feed it this first paragraph first, and I'll show you this in the demo in a second. But the first part of the prompt I'm going to give ChatGPT is, I'm applying for a funding grant for my made-up charity, Save the Trees. I'm going to share the background information first, and then I'm going to give you the grant applications to answer, and then I do ready. And what you'll see in the demo is ChatGPT will come back and say something like, yes, I'm ready, please share the background information. So why I'm breaking it down like this is because this is a more complex task. And when we're doing more complex tasks or tasks that have different stages, you'll get a better response from ChatGPT if you break it down into chunks. So I would start with those instructions at the top. Then I would copy and paste any background information that is going to inform the contents of my grant application. So we don't want to include anything that is confidential, but we can include any kind of publicly available information here, or any just sort of descriptive context, any research that you've done, that you found online and things like that, you can include that, because anything that's publicly available on the internet, ChatGPT has access to anyway. So I copy and paste my background information in, and then ChatGPT will say something like, thank you, or it will acknowledge that it's processed that background information. Then I'm going to feed the grant applications in one by one. So I'm not going to copy paste 20 grant applications in all at the same time, because what I want to do is check that ChatGPT stays giving me useful, correct, relevant answers. And if it doesn't, I can pull it back and get it to correct itself. Because the chat carries on and is building, ChatGPT will use the previous answers to answer subsequent questions. So if you can get some really good answers out of ChatGPT that are really relevant to your grant, it will start pulling on its own answers. And so as the conversation goes on, it will become better and more useful because it's building its own context. So that's why we want to do it this step by step. And you can see here also I've put a word count, which is really important. ChatGPT will always go long. And so if your grant application answer is a very strict word count, then also put that in. Let me show you what this looks like. So I say this is a more complex use case of ChatGPT, but super useful. So this is my last video. Let's open this one. So for this example, as I mentioned, let's just pause this quickly. As I mentioned at the top of the presentation, I recently won an Innovate UK Smart Grant to build our AI-powered platform that helps charities fundraise. And this is exactly how we did our grant application. So what I'm going to show you now on screen, just because I had the information to hand, is actually how we, the information we use from Pravi, which is my platform, just because I had background information ready to go and it was easier to create this demo. So you can see how this works. But this is literally the process I went through. When we applied for our grant, there was like 250 questions that we had to reply to. And there's no way my partner and I could have done it all on our own. So ChatGPT is like an indispensable tool for this. So I'm taking it through the steps that I showed you on screen. So I'm applying for a fundraising grant for my AI software innovation, Pravi. I'm going to share background information first, and then give you the grant application questions to answer. Ready? Question mark. Let's see. You can see here, ChatGPT acknowledges it understands what I'm going to do, and it's ready for me to copy and paste my background information. So what I have is just a Google Doc here of my research notes. This is just a small example, but I've got background on the product that I want to build, who I'm building it for, why I want to build it, and some of my research facts and figures. So pasting this into ChatGPT, again, not pasting anything confidential, private in here. And you'll see ChatGPT is processing this, and then it says, got it. Thanks for sharing the background information about Pravi and the challenges faced by charities. What specific questions do you have for the grant application? So it's conversing with me, it understands the task, it knows what we're doing. And this is where I would go through and I would start copy pasting the grant questions one by one into ChatGPT. And if ChatGPT produced something wasn't accurate or that I didn't like, I would not get frustrated and close ChatGPT and never use it again. I would try and correct ChatGPT and bring it back on course. So here on screen, this is an example grant application that we had to answer. given how well your solution is going to solve the problems, how or why will this translate into you gaining significant market share over time? So you can probably see at this point why we had to use ChatGPT with so many of this sort of question. So ChatGPT breaks down the question for me and it gives me a kind of long response. So this is much, much longer than anything I would put in the grant application. But what it does is it's pulling apart the question for me. So again, I see this as being like the thought partner. It's not about just writing a few words that I'm going to copy and paste into my grant application. It's deeper than that. It's more helpful than that. It's pulling apart the aspects of the question for me and saying, these are the things you should consider given the platform you're trying to build and given the question that they're answering. I would consider these 5 things. So this is really helpful for me in terms of crafting my answer. So I could go back and forth with ChatGPT a few times to get this right, but just for this demo, I'm going to say I'm happy with what it's put there. I actually probably would want something more specific, but just for this example, once I'm happy, I can say, summarize this in 50 words. Again, I know a lot of grant applications have very tight word count. And so ChatGPT can be really helpful for that. It's very good at making text more concise, for removing lowering the word count without losing the meaning. It can be really, really helpful for doing that. And so then I've got something that I can copy paste into my grant application. And again, I would update this. I would make it in my voice. I would create something that suits my my situation. I wouldn't just copy and paste ChatGPT grant application, ChatGPT grant application. Just a couple of more features I'm going to show you on this final video. Sorry. Oh, let me put this back a second. That's quite, because it's kind of hard to see. Oh, okay. In the bottom left-hand corner in your ChatGPT account, you will see your name. And that will, if you click on that, it opens up a menu. And then you've got some different settings and things you can do here to customize ChatGPT and help you save time. So I'm just going to open one of these. You can see here I think it's settings and then personalization. So 2 things that I'm just going to show you. There's the custom instructions that I currently have switched off. And then there's the memory feature, which I have switched on. So both of these you can turn off if you don't want to use these features, but these are a way that you can start saving time with ChatGPT. So I'll show you the memory first. So I've got memory turned on, and that means that ChatGPT is memorizing important details about things I do within the platform and saving them to my account. So you can see here it's got just different sentences about things that I've done, things that I've used ChatGPT for. Now, as I said, you can turn this off if you don't want it to remember your information in this way. But also what you can do, you can see here, because I've done some demos about my made up charity Save the Trees, it can't tell the difference, right? It doesn't know that that's not real. And so it saved that in my memory. And so I would probably use the little bin icon on the right there to delete some of this, because this actually isn't relevant for me and my business. And I don't want ChatGPT to use that information in its responses to me. The other feature is this custom instructions. So I have this switched off because it's not good to have it switched on for the demos. You'll see why in a minute, but I'll turn it on to show you what this does. When I turn on the custom instructions, this is a place that I can put any information that I want ChatGPT to know about me, my organization, or the audience that I write for. So you can see here that I've put, I'm a co-founder of a business, I would create training, and then I've got my information about Pravi. So you could save this, and once you turn this on, ChatGPT will use this information in every single response. So now if I say something really simple, like write a 100-word bio about me with no other context, who am I, who do I work for? ChatGPT can do that because it's pulling on those custom instructions. Now, sometimes this is annoying and you might not want ChatGPT to do that. So that's why you can turn it on and off, because you might be doing something that's not related and it will still pull anything you've put in that custom instructions. It will somehow work into its response. So that is my last demo. Let me see what I've got in the chat. Have you heard of it? Have I heard of iterative prompting? So iterative prompting, George, as in like going backwards and forwards with ChatGPT, sort of updating the prompt. You can come off mute if you want.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what like you basically start a conversation with it and then it like yeah, you ask questions, it asks questions back and forth, and then essentially you get to the right or really specific prompt.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
similar to kind of
absolutely.
what you went through pretty much. Well, pretty much is what you went through just then, really, I'd say.
Yeah, but that's a really good thing to pull out because I think sometimes people don't realize that ChatGPT can be used in that way. So it's kind of like that you can ask ChatGPT what it needs, you can keep that conversation going, and then you come out like some people have prompts that are like 5 paragraphs long. Like it's crazy, kind of like the prompting has become this whole kind of world of its own. So yes, definitely something to remember that you can always ask ChatGPT for help writing your prompts as well. I guess a great point. So I'm realizing coming up to time. I can whip through my last few slides if that's okay with everyone else's time. I've just got like a few tips about how to get the best out of ChatGPT. Um, so in terms of what you can use ChatGPT for, we're really talking about anything that's written, any kind of written collateral that you need. Press releases, speeches, newsletters, checklists, onboarding forms, blogs. There really is like no limit to the types of tasks that ChatGPT can help you with when they're text-based. The biggest objection I get usually when I present about ChatGPT is that it sounds too robotic, too posh, or too formal. And so I've just got some tips here about how you can get ChatGPT to kind of write in your voice. So you can provide writing examples in your prompt. So ChatGPT is a really good mimic. So you could put something like a previous email that you've written or a quote from like your CEO or some of your publicly available marketing materials, and you can ask ChatGPT to write in the same style, and it's really good at that. Of course, you can include tone in your prompt, which I mentioned earlier. I would actually recommend including tone most of the time because it really does impact the response that you get from ChatGPT. And then give ChatGPT feedback. So this is a little bit like what we were talking about just now with George. Like if you're really direct, you can grade ChatGPT. You can say that was a 5 out of 10, give me a 9 out of 10, and highlight misunderstandings. So a lot of the time I hear people have tried ChatGPT once and it didn't give them the response they wanted or that they thought, that they needed. And so they just were like, oh, this is no good. This is not useful for me. And then they kind of never used it again. It's really a journey to go on to learn what ChatGPT needs, how to talk to it, and what kind of things it can help you with. And it just takes practice. And then finally, you can ask ChatGPT to play a role or write for a certain audience. So you could say, you're a marketing expert, give me 5 ideas for LinkedIn posts about tax return time. Or you can say, rewrite this text for beginners, rewrite this text for children, rewrite this text for an academic audience. And then also edit and critique this text is something that I use a lot. So again, I kind of mentioned this before, but if you throw in your kind of rough draft, you can ask ChatGPT to make it more concise, to make it more clear, to make it more professional, whatever you need. And just to touch on a couple of limitations, I've mentioned most of these, I think, already. Just a reminder to never copy and paste that sensitive information into ChatGPT. Always fact check before you use it in your work. And we think of ChatGPT, as I said, as a starting point, but be prepared to make those edits and revisions. So these are the things I've covered today. As I said, I will send these slides through after the session along with the recording. I'm happy to answer any questions. Now I know I'm a little bit over time, but also, as I said, LinkedIn or email, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Really happy to help. Or if you have a very specific use case that you want to use ChatGPT for and you're not sure what to include in your prompt, just reach out to me and I will help. Let me stop sharing. Where's my chat gone? There it is. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Nina.
That was super useful. Thank you. I
Yeah.
think for me, definitely when I'm writing for grants, it's getting it down to 200 words or 100 words. And then I'm kind
Yes.
of like, mess about with it and spend ages. So that would be super helpful for me, to still have it in my own language, but to be able to nicely get it down. And George, I think you're going to be made redundant. We can use it for the newsletter.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a game changer for me, as Fiona said.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not about replacing people. I think it's about just we've already got too much on our plates, so we can get so much more done.
It easier. I was just going to ask a question. I've been on a few courses recently, and what they've said is that a lot of people are using ChatGPT to help them write their sort of applications. Is there any way I, as a HR manager, can kind of identify whether those have been written by AI or the individual actually has that kind of knowledge and skill set? Is it just the interview, just asking them those?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so there are companies that do try and sell AI detection software, but generally the feedback that I've heard and what I've seen in the space is that they're not reliable, and so the problem with them is that you could end up penalizing someone, or I don't know if you penalize them for using AI, but you know what I mean? They're not reliable at all, because what they're really trying to pick up on is kind of generic writing, because that's how ChatGPT speaks. It's generic, it's very sort of broad in general, but like some people write like that, and especially if like English isn't a first language, I would also like worry that it would pick up something as being written by AI when it's actually written by someone who maybe has, English isn't their first language. And so I think the way that we kind of assess people kind of has to change in the age of AI, because I think we always have to assume that people are going to use it. And so it sort of becomes more about how can we test people in terms of their creativity, their like emotional intelligence, their sort of other skills, their problem solving skills.
Their competency questions in the interview. I think if we've got support workers that are using AI, I'd say let's have them. They're actually are computer literate and will be able to understand, our systems like Nourish. So I'd be all for it. I don't think at our level we need to worry about.
No, I think the training course that I was on about people going in for like management positions and using it for that, and then sort of fake it till you make it kind of thing. But again, you're basically saying you have to just ask the right questions at interview, really, just to make sure that they've got that.
I think so. And I think also if you start using ChatGPT a lot, you then find it quite easy to pick up on ChatGPT style responses, because it does write in a very specific way. And so because I use ChatGPT all the time, I can often see like posts on LinkedIn where I'm like, oh wow, that person has just like copy and pasted straight from without doing that personal touch, without like putting their own voice in. And so the more you use it, the more you can kind of, it stands out to you as well. But for me, as I say, the most important thing is that like education piece, as in like it's a starting point, but it's not the finished product. And we always want to encourage people to use their own voice, put their own stamp on it, use their creativity and those sort of things.
Perfect.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you all. This was so fun. It was so nice to talk to you all. And as I say, please reach out to me on LinkedIn or email if there's anything else I can help with. I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you very much.
No worries. Have a good day.
And enjoy your
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.